what have we here? We have a little tiny chassis with a Hemi V8. Now what in the world does anybody know what it was that had a Hemi V8 in it? It's an old Hemi. It's not young. Okay, what's the next step on these Daimlers?
First we got to find out where all the parts are and get a good handle on what we have in hand, and then we're going to start calling mostly people in England where a lot of the parts reside. There are some parts here in the United States, but the sources we found are better in England for obvious reasons. They kept a lot of the cars and parts and that sort of thing, so it's a good source of material. But over here we have a few people that are knowledgeable about Daimlers, and one of them is a friend of ours, Rich Heinrich, who's has many talents, but one of his signature talents is that he's a metal man, and that's people we hold in high regard in our business. Probably the most talented and most revered are the metal men.
Yeah.
And by that I mean that they can create cars out of thin air using nothing but wooden bucks and hammers and that sort of thing. And it's been going on for a long time. A lot of the Ferraris in the early days, because they were limited bodies, Maseratis, things of that type, are all made by hand, and they'd use nothing more than mallets and stumps and that sort of thing, and a monstrous amount of talent, obviously.
Sure.
But to create a car that only exists maybe one body or two or three bodies, the Cobra Daytona Coupes were built that way.
Okay.
They were just built from a simple drawing.
Yeah.
Some Italian craftsmen, oops, did I say that? Actually made the Daytona Coupes, the later ones especially. And they had very little in the way of, they had no stamping dies, they had none of those advantages, and they had very little time and lira to build them from, because the guys that order them are always in a big hurry.
Yeah.
So a very select group of a select group that can actually make a body from scratch, and Rich is one of those rare people. He's also very knowledgeable about cars. He worked at the Scottsdale Museum for a number of years and built his own cars. A lot of people talk about doing something. Rich actually does it. And he has two magnificent cars, which hopefully we'll be able to feature, that he actually built from nothing.
Oh, wow.
So we'll get to see that. And
now,
he's
would
also,
you have some familiarity with these cars?
Yeah, he's the one that got it started in this whole affair. He knew enough about him to be dangerous, and so he shared his disease with me, and we
Right.
can call it that, probably.
Yeah,
I just love them.
It looks like a disease.
Yeah, well, all car collecting is a type of infirmity, I mean, let's be honest. But it's also a path to meet wonderful people like Rich and other people that are earnest car people. And they usually have some other profession that they're good at. I've met nothing but really good people over the years. Some very well-known people, that names you'd recognize, but when you get together as car people, the field is level. Everybody's comes to it with their own knowledge and their own abilities.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful leveling ground if you want to meet well-known people that have done well, but have a very high regard for people who actually build cars from scratch, like Rich does. And we'll get to see his work later. But Rich has been good enough to come over and give us some help on the Daimler, and he's going to come and visit, and we hope to see him soon.
Great. I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, very much so.
That's it right there.
Right.
And that's transmission support, which is TR3,
Right.
TR4.
Yep.
This, just by looking at this, looks like this is a more of a angle like that.
Yeah,
so
right.
I bet these are spread apart more.
Right.
But I'll bet you that whoever built this chassis was the same chassis builder
Oh
that
yeah.
did TR3,
Sure.
TR4.
Probably a block away. Why would they go somewhere else?
Well,
the
the
trick
cross
here.
the cross pieces like on TR3, these are tubes. These are tubes that come out.
Right.
Instead of this.
Right.
And these are tubes across on the TR3, TR4 chassis.
Right.
Where those channels are.
Right, but otherwise it's very similar.
It's real similar. I mean,
so the question is, for instance, like one of the things we're missing is a steering column, a complete one. For some reason,
where's your cut one?
Right, there's
Oh,
this.
okay, so there.
Yeah. See here, Rich. Some idiot cut it off. Probably to get the steering wheel off because he couldn't.
Well, it was probably you guys when you decided you were going to restore that steering wheel.
So here's my problem. How am I going to come up with a steering column for one of these things?
TR3.
Just get a TR3.
But I mean, well, actually, that thing's all bent anyway. So.
No, but I mean, if I take a TR3, I can modify it and put the steering wheel on it. I can figure all that out. I just I need parts.
Which one of these do you want to keep for yourself?
That one.
So take the steering assembly out of this one and put it in this one, and put a rack and pinion in this.
No, I don't want to do any modification. I don't want to do that.
Okay, then you buy a TR3 steering.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's easier for people that don't know nothing like me to just go buy something that's ready-made. This is the first car I got. This is from Arizona. But unfortunately, I got whacked in the front, so we're going to have to pull a... Do you know anybody that will straighten this chassis for me?
I don't know anybody, no. I mean,
No, okay.
You'd have to take it to a body shop.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. I've got all the specs. You know, I got the sheet that says, it's 13 and 5/8, but we need to put it on a frame rack.
Let me...
Do you know anybody with a frame rack?
Just over near where the body shop is, at Tommy's car, there's a frame machine.
Yeah, well, if you know the guys and you know they're reputable.
I don't know them at all.
Well, I can go talk to them. Now, you mentioned at one time you knew somebody who had TR3 parts. Do you still know him? Is he still around?
There's a guy, you know what? There's a guy advertising TR4 parts right now on Craigslist.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, that's how he got in trouble the first time. He calls me up and he says, there's a car. Here they all are, okay? This man started this problem.
This isn't my fault. You
Yes,
had this when I met you.
Yeah, but you made it much worse, as we can all see. Yeah, he called me and goes, hey, there's a car on eBay. You got to buy it, And of course I did, not being very bright. I just, yeah, it's cheap. I'll buy it.
I'm really, really good at spending my friend's money.
That's right.
And then he laughs about it later.
Yeah.
It's just...
Spend other people's money.
Yeah, why not?
It's a lot cheaper that way.
I wish I could do it myself.
Yeah, but why not? Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
My rich buddies to go
Let them
buy stuff.
live
His name
vicariously
is
through
Rich.
them.
That's what he's trying to say.
What is this? Waste money vicariously through someone else?
Yeah, it's one way to go. Go find somebody with the resources and let him be tortured by the process.
So if you're...
But there are no wrecking yards in the Phoenix area.
What's the point of repairing, of doing that if you're going to have somebody pull this?
Well, because we want to have two cars. One is a finished car. The second one is as finished as it can be, and then we'll off that one, and then we'll sell the rest as parts.
Well, you've got 3 cars here.
Yeah, no, not really. If you start adding up
you're
parts.
going to fix this chassis instead of that one?
This one, put 2 cars together, and then sell off the second car, whichever one is.
Far gone or what?
Oh yeah, look at it. You could fix anything, Rich. You know that. But it's just not worth it at some level. And I'm going to sell it to somebody else. It's not going in the trash. I'm going to sell it to someone else, and then it can be his dream. Because a lot of this stuff, that's all it is, the dream.
It looks a bit droopy.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the droopy side. So
I
anyway,
want the back brakes from that rear end.
What we do is we take all the parts we have and we can label them 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 car gets the best of everything. Number 2 car gets the second best. And number 3, it's not really a car, it's just a pile of parts.
Hobart Exhaust.
What's that?
It's a Hobart Exhaust.
Really?
Yeah.
This is why we like Rich hanging around. Is that valuable in some strange way?
Well,
Or it's just interesting that it has one.
it's what all us sporty car guys wanted when we were kids.
Okay.
We
So
all had to have an Hobart Exhaust because it's a glass pack.
Yeah, but it's a cool glass back.
Yeah.
But it made the car sound better.
That's what I have on my TR3, and the reason I have my TR3 is because I started talking to the guy who owned it in 1967 about the Hobart Exhaust it had.
That's how it all started.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our plan. We've got 2 decent motors. So again, it's car number 1, car number 2, and whatever else. And that way we feel like it's the best way to get it in the hands of people who would want it, but there's got to be some organization here. You can't just say, here's a pile of parts. So we do the research, we put it on the car and say, okay, here's what you're getting, and he can see it with his own eyes, and he can decide if it's something he wants to attack or not. But at least it doesn't go in the trash. And that's always been our goal, is preserve these cars, because a lot of people just don't have any access to any parts at all. So they look at something like, well, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, all the mechanical stuff, I was going to say TR3, but the rear end may be wider. I don't know. I can measure my rear end and let you know if it measures the same as
You're going to do straight lines like I'm going to measure my rear end. You're not going to let that go. I mean, we're just not going to let that get by me, okay? First order of business, is there a British car wrecking yard of some sort that handles TR3-ish, TR4?
Not that I know of.
Not at all.
Not that I know of.
That takes in a lot of real estate, Rich.
I mean,
we can go online and try and get the Daimler has a support group. We can go on there and say, hey, we need a this or that, and we're willing to trade.
The front suspension's all TR3, TR4.
Right.
The rear suspension's TR3, TR4. My frame I cut these off my frame exactly the same thing so that I could move my wheelbase back.
Sure. Okay, so we got some commonality, and honestly, if we end up with a steering shaft to have a TR3 and it's not absolutely correct, I don't think the people at Pebble Beach are going to be concerned about it. So I got to make some compromises here, because we need to put them back together. We can't just get to one thing and then stop. So
let's have, before I go, we'll have Walker look up Craigslist.
Okay.
And find that TR4 ad. He's got lots of TR4.
Oh, okay.
Including a car on a trailer that's got some rust on it, so I don't know what the frame's going to look like. But
well, we don't care, because we don't need the whole frame. We might need some key parts.
You might actually be able to use the front half of a TR3 frame to fix that. Just lop the frame off, use the TR3 frame rails.
Right.
It's got cross members here, so I mean you can basically cut this here
and just turn it all into
and
TR4. But
whatever's bent or maybe you can use that part of that chassis.
Yeah, that's an option. I think it's simpler from our point of view to try and find righteous Daimler stuff, because we don't want to represent the car as being original if it's got a bunch of stuff grafted onto it. It has a kind of a magic if you say it's all original stuff. Right. I mean, you're not trying to represent that the car is ready for Pebble Beach. That's not the point. But if you say I got a TR4 this and an Austin Healey that, and
it starts to
you can just see they're going, because they don't know anything about it anyway, and that just sounds bad. So we'll probably stick with whatever we can. We'll take whatever time we'll have to fabricate some of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, these supports for the front bumper, they're not rocket science. This one's bent.
They look ridiculous.
Yeah, they are kind of silly, but
are those the front bumpers?
Yes.
Back bumpers?
Front and back, yeah. We have a tremendous amount of parts. I bought out an entire collection a couple years back, and so that's been really beneficial. But now we're running into key parts that we just don't have and don't know where to source. So that's why we're looking at guys like you who can send us to the next guy and send us the next time. Sooner or later, we'll come up with it.
Well, I might have suspension pieces if you need them.
Well, anything.
I've got another front suspension.
Anything that crosses over directly. If I have to modify something, I don't know if I'm able to do.
I have a really bad habit of looking at it and going, oh yeah, TR3.
Yeah.
I remember looking at that car and going TR3.
Yeah.
And then the second time I looked at it, it was like, oh no, it's different because
it's not really TR3. Well, the same guys probably built it. The same factory in England probably built it, but you can see the similarities.
Yeah.
I actually found a guy here in town that will rebuild a motor, if you can imagine that. He wasn't even afraid. I said, how do you know how to build an early Hemi? He said, I've done about 50 426 Hemis. Wow. And he smiled at me and said, not a problem. Okay. It's just another motor, Right. We just got some rings made for a V12, because we couldn't come up with them. Wow. And Perfect Circle here in town.
Oh, they made them?
Yeah, he calls them up, he goes, this is what they need to be, 14 millimeter, yada, yada, yada. And they go, yeah, fine, no problem. 2 days later, they were in his hand.
Wow.
We've been looking for 6 months